Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing one of their past projects. We will let you decide if it was good or bad or just plain ugly. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is the importance of hiring licensed contractors. Hiring licensed contractors is essential for the success of your real estate investment business. Licensed contractors possess the necessary expertise, qualifications, and legal compliance to ensure your projects are handled professionally and meet industry standards. Here are 3 valuable benefits for working with licensed contractors. Number 1, quality workmanship. Licensed contractors undergo rigorous training and must meet specific standards to obtain their license. Their expertise and experience enable them to deliver high-quality workmanship, ensuring that your property renovations, repairs, or construction projects are completed to a professional standard. Number 2, compliance with building codes. Licensed contractors have in-depth knowledge of local building codes, regulations, and permit requirements. They understand the importance of adhering to these guidelines to ensure the safety and legality of your property. By hiring licensed contractors, you minimize the risk of potential fines, penalties, or legal complications arising from non-compliance. Number 3, they're insured. A good licensed contractor should carry liability insurance protecting you from potential financial losses in case of accidents or property damage during construction. It provides peace of mind knowing that unforeseen incidents will be covered, reducing your liability. So, remember, investing in real estate involves significant financial commitments, and cutting corners when it comes to choosing contractors can lead to costly mistakes, delays, or shoddy results. Make it a priority to hire licensed contractors who have the expertise and qualifications to handle your projects with skill and integrity. This ensures that your investments are protected and positioned for long-term success. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us my friend, Devon Smith. Devon started her real estate journey back in 2021 when she became a member of the Homeschooled by Tarek El Moussa education program for real estate investors. Since joining, Devon has done 7 investment transactions, all profitable. She's a real estate investor, a licensed general contractor, a board member of the South Dakota Real Estate Investment Association, and most importantly, a badass single mom of 2 beautiful kids, Teagan and Archer. I personally have been watching Devon's journey since the beginning and understand why she's a huge inspiration to many. So welcome to the show, Devon. And she's making me drink, everybody, which is why I'm like slurring my words already.
You got like 2 sips. Don't blame me.
I was trying to do the introduction, which will be edited, by the way. So anyway, yeah. Devon, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you on here. And I truly mean you are an inspiration to so many. You are so great about sharing your story on social media. You make it humorous. You make it informative. I especially have a bond with you because we are both former teachers, and so we speak the same language. But anyway, it's just such a pleasure to have you on the show. Tell us how you got involved and found the Homeschooled program to get involved with real estate.
Well, first, thank you for saying all those nice things about me.
All
even
very
if it's
true.
Because of the booze, whatever. Just kidding. I forgot to ask you this. So this video, is this show, like, do you post these, like the videos of
I will take snippets from the videos just for promotional stuff. Yes.
Sure. I just didn't know what was going on. So because my son, who was 7 at the time when we lived in Washington State, we live in South Dakota now, but we used to watch Flip or Flop a lot. And then when I started getting interested in real estate investing, my ADHD kicked in, and I like, everything looks so amazing. I want to do that. I want to do that. And because I was a teacher, I knew that I could use the benefit of a mentorship program or a coach or somebody like that. And so I started looking for programs, and a Facebook ad popped up for Homeschooled by Tarek. And I showed my son, and he's like, you have to go to that. So I was like, all right, whatever. It was a free, like, 1 hour session at that time where they came and they talked about the program. And then it was like, okay, now I'll sign up for a weekend thing. It's $99 or a Saturday, I remember. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I had just paid off my credit cards for, like, the first time in years. And my credit score was like 813. I remember that because that's my birthday, 813. Amazing. And then like 2 weeks later, I paid for the program, and no regrets whatsoever.
And have you made that money back?
Yes.
Excellent.
Multiple times.
Exactly.
Like, you can make it back. I made it back in my first video learning about a tax strategy.
Explain that.
Well, and I have to think about it, but it was something about the way that you could, depreciate a vehicle or something, like accelerated depreciation of a vehicle. If it's like a truck, and you could do like 15 grand for a certain, like, we had a truck at the time. I was married at the time, but I was like, okay, that money is now back. So the very first recording that I watched. And then since then, even more so.
Yes, exactly. So there's so many other techniques, even just beyond flipping houses and making a profit, that you are taught so many other things, how do you take advantage of the tax laws and stuff like that. So excellent point. Very, very good. And you wouldn't have an advantage like that without being an education program that's going to teach you those things. So good point. I'd forgotten about that. So I hope it's okay, but to kind of go into this a little bit before we start talking about this project, you've had a pretty rough, what is it, 2 years or like 18 months, and yet you are still extremely successful. And like, to have 7 transactions already and all of them profitable is excellent to begin with. But do you mind sharing a little bit of your story? Because I know there's listeners out there who are like, I just have so much shit going on in my life. There's no way I'm going to be able to start this program, or I have an illness, or I'm going through a major transition in my life. So give a little bit of a background of what you've been going on in the last couple months going on with you.
Well, like, the whole process that started was, we lived in a different state, and we were, thinking about moving back. My ex at the time, like, we vacationed back in South Dakota. He applied for a job before we left, offered the position and everything before we got back. And then I had to turn around with my kids because it was the fall and drive them back.
From Washington State to South Dakota. So you're from
Correct,
South Dakota,
yeah.
So you're moving back to South Dakota. Okay.
Yeah, to be closer to family, and everybody's here. So I drove back across the Rocky Mountains with my kids, and had to get registered in school, started looking for houses because school was starting here, and for my son. And so we didn't have a place to live at. We lived in our camper for a month with 2 kids and a dog. We then were living in a short-term rental for 3 months, and I was driving the kids while we had purchased a house that was being built.
Were you still teaching at the time?
No. I was done teaching.
Okay.
Washington State. So that spring was my last. So I was done teaching. I felt like I did 9 years of time, hard time.
Hard time it is. And what did you teach, by the way, really quick?
I kind of felt like that during the pandemic, where it was tough.
What did you teach?
I taught a lot of things. I taught like social studies, U.S. history. So I taught U.S. history during the 2020 election. That was fun. And I taught English as a second language. I've taught French. I've taught English. I've taught AP, history, all kinds of different
What grade
things.
level?
I did 3 years at middle school. So that's why I'm afraid of nothing. Nothing scares you.
Truth. And it really applies to real estate because like we have a gentleman sleeping on the front porch of one of our properties and Vance is like, still. And I'll tell you, we're leaving him there. So Vance is like, oh, I'm like, I got it. So I went over, took him some donuts and had a conversation with him. But I'll tell you, I probably shouldn't announce this publicly, but we have appliances in there. We have all the, cabinets, everything still needs to be installed. So he's protecting it. We're letting him stay there. He's in a protected, covered area and he keeps an eye out for us. So we're actually letting him stay there. But yes, nothing scares you when you have taught middle school. I love that you said that. So
nope. Yeah.
All
that
right.
was
So
first 3 years. And it was a tough school too. It was like one of the, the high poverty schools. So yeah, nothing scares me. And then 6 years of high school. My favorite grade to teach is juniors. They're the best.
Nice.
They're crazy. Seniors are checked out and they're kind of a-holes at that point. And I love, I was a good teacher. I still have relationships with my, students that are, they just some of the good eggs, not all of them, but I had done 9 years in, public service. I felt like, okay, I've contributed to society and now I started getting into this. I did watched podcasts and videos and all kinds of articles and books. I think I read 10 books that spring about real estate investing. We're starting with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I started teaching to my students some of the things. And I was like, what are they going to do? Fire me?
So good.
Yeah, they loved it too. And I started teaching just small snippets. And that's going to be one of my lead into some of my whys a little bit later, because I know you're going to ask me that. But
yeah. So you moved to South Dakota and you had quit teaching at this point. So what was going to be your 9 to 5, or were you like, I'm all in for very good. So that is ripping the Band-Aid off and burning the boats. And this is it. I'm going all force into real estate. So tell me, so you move and shit starts hitting the fan for you a little bit.
Yeah, well, so we moved, like I said, we lived in a short-term rental. Our house got delayed. Our lease was up. So then we lived in Airbnbs. At some point we lived with our friends that, still trying to get the kids. All of our stuff was in storage. And so I think that January of last year, we closed finally on this beautiful house that I picked out all of these finishes for. And then 2 days later, I bought this place that I live in now. I closed on this. This was my first purchase, which was a wholesale deal that I found from a lender. And so that was 2 days later. And so I didn't do anything in this place for a month. And then bought this place, and I don't know how much you want me to go into it. Bought this place that's going to be an Airbnb. But it's not currently right now. I'll get to that in the story. Bought another place that I ended up off market, just from the people that lived there. I tore that house down because it was really bad. Ended up selling the lot for a profit, which I made 17 or 18,000 on that. And then we bought a fourplex, my ex and I together. That was already cash flowing. It was turnkey, not really a lot to do. He has that now. But that was profitable. I wholesaled a deal, small profit of $6,000. And then, during that time, my ex and I separated. We decided to get divorced. We'd just been growing apart. We didn't have anything in common with each other anymore. And I wanted to go forward with this. And he was very kind of a closed mindset, or fixed mindset, I guess. Right. And I'm growth mindset. I'm high risk. I wanted to do all these things, and it just didn't end up working out. We were together, married 12 years together, 8 before that. So big chunk. So to keep the kids, I wouldn't ever be able to afford that house on my own. He has a good job. He was already paying for that kind of stuff to begin with, and I was contributing when I could. But so then to give stability for the kids, but also take me out of that, we just weren't vibing, obviously. I decided to move into this place when it was mid-construction. So like literally didn't have a bathroom door. I slept on mattresses on the floor. There was sawdust everywhere. Did that for the kids so that they would, have that sense of, and for our divorce, just to proceed a little more smoothly, to have that separation. And then I would drive, that was in the summer last year, I would drive to Harris. So it's a small town that's about 10, 15 minutes away every morning at like 5 a.m. because he had to be to work at 6 and get the kids and either take them with me while I was working or to the babysitter for 3 days a week. And then went through that divorce. Couldn't really buy, felt kind of restricted financially because when you're like, I felt like I couldn't move forward with the business. So that took some time, obviously. Finished this place up. This was a full gut rehab. This one is profit, or like I'm still under market value. I went way over budget on this one. First one, right?
Right, exactly.
So value. So that's good because I did some great things here. I feel like I'm talking too much.
No, I mean, because there are listeners who I feel have every excuse in the book to getting started. Sure. And you are just so successful and you inspire so many people because you've been handed a lot of hardships. You're going through a freaking divorce, okay? And you're still finding a way to keep things together, and you're keeping it friendly between you and your ex-husband, which is, super great for the kids.
Yes.
You are getting your GC license in the middle of this. You became a general contractor. That is no easy feat right there. I did tell my husband at one point, I'm like, I've always wanted to sleep with a GC, and I was hoping he'd say which one, but instead he got his GC license. So I know, I was like,
I thought you were going to say, well, Devon's a GC. Let's
do a swap or something. No, I don't dip my toe in that pool, but anyway.
Yeah, maybe we'll edit that part.
No way, that's staying in.
Whatever.
But I'm just saying you've had a lot of trials and tribulations that you have overcome, and it hasn't stopped your success. That's all I was really going. And you had a surgery in the middle of all this. You had gallstones, and I mean, that's just what I was getting to.
Gallstones, yeah. But yeah, I did get my residential contractor's license, which I'm in South Dakota, so each state is different. And Sioux Falls, the town that I'm in, is really one of the only areas that requires a license to like pull permits and stuff if you're not the homeowner. But I got it to add legitimacy to the business.
Yep.
And just to be able to do that, I'm a very good test taker. So that was something that helped me out because it was an open book test, but it wasn't easy. But we got to bring our the code, the handbook in.
Uh-huh.
I cracked it maybe once or twice before I took the test. But I had such confidence in my ability because I was a teacher and a good test taker. And I did pass, and only like 40% of people passed the first time.
So true.
Open book test. And I felt really bad because I was the only woman in the room. There was probably 20 dudes in there. Clearly, a lot of them had like all of the little earmark things, like they'd studied, they'd highlighted, you could see it. They knew what they were doing. And I'm like, I barely know anything. But luckily I had a GC who's still my GC that I met at a RIA meeting. So Real Estate Investors Association, met my contractor there, hired him for this place. And he still is so good at teaching me. He's like sharing all the stuff and teaching me. And I want to do everything at least once so that I understand that, so I don't get taken advantage of. That was another thing too, why I've done so much of the work myself in the first few, because I am a woman, I'm tall and confident, so I don't get taken advantage of very often, but I didn't want that to be the situation where like, well, you need to, put this kind of thing right here for code. And I'm gonna be like, actually, no, you don't. Thanks. Bye.
Well, I can remember watching a Facebook Live of you tearing down a little garage. I guess it was a detached garage. And I was like, damn, this girl is like, she is definitely going places. I also remember another time when you're like, oh, you guys are meeting for meetups here. You're all, and then you made this little promo video, and it was this person just walking by themselves, and it was me. It was you walking. I didn't even know.
It was me walking in a field with the song all by myself.
It was
everyone was like
hilarious. So,
yeah.
Well, anyway,
That's what I spent my time doing instead of like finding deep park. He'd be mad. Like instead, I just made a funny video.
I'm just saying it is. I mean, you are such an inspiration to so many. Be a single woman, killing it out there. And so let's dive into this project. And this is.
We got to tell my other things though.
Oh, other things. I'm sorry. Keep on.
Yeah, I hit my head on a tub surround when I was doing the project that we're going to talk about. Slipped on the ice, hit my head. And then we can go into that. And then, yeah, I after that I kind of figured that out. It took me a couple of months to kind of get over that. So that delayed this project that we'll talk about. And then about 2 months ago, I had ended up in the ER a couple of days with this pain in my side that I've had before. And it was my gallbladder and all the symptoms, but I didn't have gallstones. And so they did something called the HIDA scan. And it turns out my gallbladder just didn't work. Like
oh my goodness.
So it's supposed to release bile to digest all the fats, and mine would just hold on to it, and then it would hurt and hurt and hurt, and then get kind of inflamed. And so I ended up having that surgery, and that kind of, I'm just now able to, I think that was like April 9th yeah, right around like the second week of April, just now able to like lift things really again. So I'm getting my muscles back. But that slowed me down. Like, it's so frustrating. You can't pick up like your kid or anything. And I feel like those are all the things.
Well, the moral of the story here is you don't let anything stop you. And you're really great on social media as well. I don't watch all your lives because I would not have enough time in the day, but I do like that you do that because it just expands your exposure. It builds your credibility of stuff that you're doing. And so let's dive into this project.
Okay.
Tell us about this one. Tell me about the actual house, like what year it was built, anything special about it, how many beds and baths, etc.
Okay. So this house, it's the house right next door to where I live now. And I bought it just by talking to, there were like younger, maybe a little younger than me. So clearly in their early 20s. Just kidding. They're in their 20s, maybe early 30s. And I was like, hey, like, are you, ever interested in selling? Like, because I had to tear down the garage here. This house was a huge eyesore for the community too. I've torn down 2 garages now, by the way.
Nice.
One with excavator with the thing, and the other one, like, I like literally pushed down one of the walls. As I was fixing that, I was like, I'm so sorry for the garage. I wanted to get to it. And they're like, I don't care. I was like, okay, well, if you ever want to sell your house, let me know. And she's like, well, I don't necessarily, it's my mom's house. And, but I think she might want to sell. So we got connected, we started talking. And one of the things that I feel of mine is my ability to connect with people and just listen and solve those problems for them. And so we came up with a number. The house next door it's 2,400 square feet. It's 4-bed, 2-bath, but it's got like a separate little kitchenette area, a couple there's a family room. It's a like weirdly big house. You could make it into 6 bedrooms pretty easily. Wow. 2-stall detached garage and a little shed in the backyard. But from the front of the house, it looks very small. So we called it, my contractor came up with it, he called it the iceberg. So it looks small from the outside, but then you keep going inside, and like you keep going, you're like, oh my gosh. So we had originally come to a price of $180 to take it as is. There were some things wrong with it. And then her sister got involved, and she lived in Washington State, and she wasn't supposed to take any of the profit. It became like a family thing, and she wanted to use a realtor. And I was like, okay, well, you got to do what's right for you. I truly believe that. And I was like, here are a couple of realtors that I know. If you need, recommendations, or if you need any help with anything, let me know. And so then she said they did that. They got the realtor. Her sister wanted an appraisal, and it appraised for a certain amount. I'm like, okay, how much would you take if I could just offer you cash right now and you don't have to do anything and list it? She said 200. And I was like, okay, so the number still worked then. For me, I'd already kind of done that. I actually was the first, that property was the very first deal analysis that Tarek's deal team did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the very first one. And so we negotiated that, and so I closed on that December, beginning of December.
Okay. And you said it was 4 bedrooms. It could go up to 6. What year was it built?
Part of the house was built in the 1950s, and then there was an addition, which is why it's so much bigger on the back, that was built in, I believe, the 90s.
Got it. So something really important that you said that you kind of brushed over. How much marketing dollars did you spend to get this property?
0.
And how did you get it again? You just said,
you guys ever want to sell your house? Like, I buy it from you. And that was it.
and literally just one sentence. If you ever think about selling your house, let me know. And that is just that word of mouth for you to it's a lot of who you know, etc. And
Yeah.
genius. And because people are like, I can't afford marketing. I can't do all this and that. Nope. It's just open your mouth and start talking to people. I love that.
I haven't spent any money on marketing yet.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm going to, just because I want to scale. And I think it's a good way to do it. But like thus far, the fourplex that we bought was in the MLS. The rest of them have been off market, just talking to people and other people referring it. So
that is amazing.
Yeah.
So huge question here. How did you finance it? Because you're in South Dakota, and I interviewed yesterday one of my favorite hard money lenders from Fund That Flip. And he also said, yeah, because I'm like, I got a girl in South Dakota, and she always has a really hard time finding hard money lenders because I guess they call it rural. Is that like, why do they tell you? It just seems like no hard money lenders want to lend in South Dakota, and I don't know why.
There's that, and then there's some other regulations and which is weird because South Dakota is such a very business-friendly state, but I think they have written things to try and keep outside investors out of the state and that's really what I think it is. I haven't looked into it too much because when I couldn't find that and I couldn't go to a bank anymore because I didn't have my ex's W-2 job, I went out to private money. And I've been successful at that. So I haven't necessarily needed to seek out hard money lenders anymore.
Okay. So you finance this with private money, and there's a lot of people who, in fact, there was a student reaching out to me on social media just now. Hey, I need help finding private money lenders. How do you find private money lenders, especially since that's like your only option? So what tips do you have? Because people are going, who's going to lend me money? I'm just starting, and like, give us some tips how to find private money.
So I've used private money, except for the fourplex that was on market and the wholesales. No, that's not true. One of the wholesales. I've used private money for everything. It started with the deal. Like, I made sure I had a good deal. And luckily I'm in a program where I have experts that can review my deals to make sure it's a good deal. And then I started really small. I have a group of friends from college that were actually my ex and I, like, same group. I'm in the fantasy football. My fantasy football, to be honest, is where I started. He's not cool like I am, but we've been in fantasy football. I've been in with all the guys for years, and I've known them for 20 years. And so I reached out and was like, hey, anybody have any interest in, private money? And then I able to use all of the knowledge of being able to say, like, you can be on title, your money is insured through the insurance as a lost pay. So if, like, the property burns down, you still get your money back, type of thing. And, like, I buy things so under market that there's already value in it. So I also put in my own money too, just to say I want my own skin in the game as well. And so really it started reaching out to my fantasy football group, and I was able to raise some money for this place. We had a partial bank loan for this, and then private money for the funding, and then our own. And then all private money almost to buy the property that I tore down from fantasy football group as well. And then just with our group that we're in, I've lent to some of my other homeschooled students, and they've lent to me. And something at REIA group is how I funded the house next door. So I know that's where we're getting at, but really it's just by asking and but having a good deal as well. And the coolest part about the one that I'm currently working on that will be listed next week is I I put just a quick like, hey, I just put in earnest money deposit for. I just did a picture. Me at the title company on Facebook, just put money down to buy another house. If you're interested in earning 10% on an asset-based, loan, let me know. I had 4 people reach out to me to lend me almost all the money. Like they wanted to lend me money because again, what you said, like free marketing, like I'm just on social media, but I've also paid back all of my private money lenders. And so they're very happy and they'll relend, but
so such a great point right there. And that's exactly what I do. I literally get something under contract. I post a picture of it. I say, I'm looking for $250,000 in second position. If it goes the full 18 months, this is what you're going to make, 37.5, I think it is, at 10%. And that's literally how I find private money lenders. But you have to build up to it. You have to start, if you don't have any projects yet, you should really take advantage of social media and start with things just like this or that. Because you haven't flipped anything yet, you can do quick little, do you prefer black matte fixtures or gold fixtures? And just have 2 different pictures and just get people's opinion, because that is then putting you in the position of being the expert. And then it's just going to make it easier down the way. So that's just a quick example. So excellent point here. All right.
One of my other things, yes. Sorry, I'll just interrupt you because I know everything.
Hey, please do.
One of the other things that I know not a lot of people other investors want to do is I will take small amounts as well. Because I'm in South Dakota, this is something new. I'm not in California where I need to borrow $1 million just to buy a property. I'm, like the house next door I bought for $200,000. But the house in T I bought for $255,000. Sorry, T is my next project is a little town outside of Sioux Falls. And I have on that one a $15,000 loan. I have a $25,000 loan. I have, I've had one investor invest $10,000 with me several times because that's their comfort level. It's a little bit more paperwork, and they don't always end up on title if it's that small, but
that was my question.
Yeah.
So how do you, so are you pooling the money together? How are you doing that? How are you structuring it?
I don't pool it all together like in some kind of special LLC or anything. It's just, they just like with private money, you can have them send their funds directly to title. They feel good about that. It's all, and so far really, again, for the most part, I've used private money for the purchase price and then my own funds for rehab. So I kind of know exactly, all right, here's my purchase price. I'm going to fund the rehab. And then this is exactly what I need to pay back to them. So is that your question? I don't know.
But I mean, normally when someone lends, that they're being secured by being on the mortgage and first position, second position. So when you have all these other, you're not doing fifth, sixth, and seventh position. So how are you securing their loan, or are they non-secured loans?
A lot of them are not non-secured loans. I really only had 2 thus far that have asked me to be on title. And one of them is another homeschooled student who put in a larger, like $150,000. So we recorded a mortgage for her. And then another one is just another local friend of mine helped me out in a pinch and made good money. But so the smaller amounts, they are very happy with the promissory note and then being insurance. Like they feel good about that because, well, if something really bad happens, then I'm going to get my, the money back that way. So.
Got it. All right. Very well said. Thank you for explaining that. So you buy it for $200K. How much what was the ARV at time of purchase?
It was, I think I was looking at 280.
280. And how much was the repair budget in the beginning?
And it didn't change too much. It was really cosmetic stuff. It was, an old house with lots of different carpets and floorings and a bunch of different paint colors. And so my original rehab budget, I think was like 20,000-ish. And I maybe went to 25,000 because I decided to do a little bit more work and add a little bit more carpet in and replace things that I hadn't originally planned to do. But I got a really good carpet guy, gave me things at a discount from my social media videos. Out to me, and he's just taking over a new carpet business. He's like, hey, I got some carpet for you. I was like, great, let's let's do this. So I think and I'm still running all the numbers, but I was at about 25,000 for my rehab. My lending cost did go way over because I waited way too long to raise all the money. So I had to make the deal very enticing. And as my first like kind of flip, I was very like, and I don't know why I should have listened to my coaches, but I was pretty naive about the timeline. But then like literally like, in the middle of buying it, I got divorced and I got a concussion. And then we had like the winter from, I don't want to say hell because it's cold, but I guess hell froze over in South Dakota this year. So we had snowstorm and blizzard and snowstorm. And so that delayed everything. And then selling it took longer too.
What was your interest rate that you were paying?
So I did like a points thing just to make sure, because I thought I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna borrow this money for 3 months. I needed it really fast. I was still raising money before I closed, or even a few days before, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you 5 points on your $100,000 for 3 months. I know your jaw just dropped. If you're listening, your jaw just dropped, but I was like, okay, still enough meat on the bone. If I can get the deal done, I'm happy with that, right? Like, I don't want to drag this out anymore for them. So I went over by like 2 months. And so we just decided to do, and with a month, like a daily rate of what that would have been, 5 points over a year. And so 8,000 over. And when it came down to it with my financing costs. So that's a big lesson that I learned in that one. Don't wait the last minute. I had a lot of things going on, right? Like life got in the way, but like definitely don't wait. And then I don't know if I would have been able to get it done without that kind of interest though.
Yeah. I mean, I've gone up to 16% interest. So don't feel bad. It was for our cabin that we still own to this day. We were paying 16% interest, but it was such a flippin' cash cow. And so it worked. It was fine. So, all right. When you closed on the property and started renovations, any surprises?
No, honestly, like I know, like people are, I know, there really weren't, it was cosmetic. The only thing is like the AC was old. I knew that. I did do another boo-boo mistake that new investors shouldn't do. I didn't have this property inspected for some reason. I think it just with my divorce and everything, that part of it slipped my mind, and I should have done that. Like you always should. And so I didn't do that. But I didn't end up with really, I mean, once I was able to get it sold, there wasn't anything major that turned up. There was some foundation that, like in the end, it didn't end up being a big deal. So.
And you also have your general contractor's license. What do you call it? Residential?
That's like my residential building. I have it somewhere. It's over here. So it's the residential building contractor license. I have it framed.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. So you have that. So you do have a pretty general good idea of what things are going to cost, et cetera. So that's good. And that's probably why.
And my GC he came through it with me and he was able to
Did you hire a bunch of subs or did you do a lot of work yourself?
On this one, I did, again, a lot of the work myself, but it was a lot of cosmetic stuff. The one thing that my GC did is there wasn't a tub in this house, and I'm a mom. And because of so many bedrooms in the neighborhood I'm in, I figured anybody who's going to buy this is going to have kids. They're going to want a tub.
Right.
But it was for an elderly couple. The woman I bought it from had bought it for her parents. And so they took out the tub and they put in a walk-in. So I spent money on that. And otherwise for subs, I subbed out the flooring. I painted the entire inside by myself, which I didn't do that on the next one because I like I said, I really like to do everything at least once so I understand the process. And now I understand it and why it's good to pay other people.
So true.
Well, but I can wire stuff. So I put all the light fixtures in. I like doing that kind of stuff. And in South Dakota, that's okay. Since I own the property, I'm able to do that. So.
Okay. So what was your projected timeline versus your actual timeline to complete the renovations?
For the renovations, I thought I would be done in about 6 weeks, and it took 3 to 4 months, but I didn't get it again right away. So like because of life and whatever. I was over, and then selling was interesting too.
Yeah, so that's my next question here. So how long, this is the one that, well, I'll let you say it, but I think you and I had a conversation about this one, what to do with when it goes under contract. So how long was it from finish date to actually closing on the sale of the property?
Oh gosh. It was probably, I know I was supposed to do my homework. Maybe 7 weeks.
Okay. Well, you got it under contract after how many days?
Well, the first time.
Yes.
Yes. So, but I was able to list, I originally thought 180 or 280 for my after repair value. We were able to list at 3 just because of what we'd seen for comparable sales. My realtor was a little less than that, but put it on the market. My other and I'll get to my next mistake that I did and I share, but I didn't stage it to begin with because my realtor, who's my best friend, like we've been friends since I was 18 or 19 years old. She's a great realtor too. But we're in South Dakota, things are different. And she's like, well, I don't think we need to stage. I was like, I kind of want to. So, but 2 days later, after being on the market, I received a full price offer from an out-of-state couple, and like no contingency, like besides appraisal, like it was a loan. It wasn't an FHA, it wasn't a VA loan, it wasn't first-time home buyers. It was just a full price offer, with a regular appraisal, contingency, and inspection. And I was like, sweet,
nice.
The next day, they found out they were pregnant and decided not to move. So they backed out of the contract. But even though they backed out for a non-house related reason, they still sent the earnest money.
Nice.
Of $1,000, which is fairly typical for my area.
Okay.
They didn't honestly have to do that because what was it?
Yeah. In North Carolina, there's like a 48-hour grace period or something for you to change your mind. So that's great that they did that.
They did. And what I decided to do then was to use that money to stage the house. So I used $1,000 towards staging, which was $1,600. Turned out great. Put it back on the market after I'd gotten some feedback, and I finished off this other lower area that I was leaving kind of unfinished because I'm an investor and I'm like, oh, look, a value add space. People are going to want to do that. Like they're going to be able to see, look, I can come in and finish this and make my house worth more money. But most people, these are first-time home buyers, and they're like, I don't know how to do any of that. I just want to. So I spent a little time and I finished that little kitchenette area and just put carpet in some areas that didn't have anything and painted a little bit more, and then put it back on the market. Same price, $300,000. 2 days later, again, full price offer. Very exciting, very similar offer, almost identical. They had the inspection and then they got cold feet because they were first time, and then they backed out. So now I've got two times full-time offers, and your property starts to get kind of a stigma after that.
A tarnish.
Yeah, a tarnish. Why isn't it, so the basement in this property has a very strange layout too. And we knew that was going to be tough, and it was kind of low ceilings in the older part of the house. So, but then we put it back on the market, and I think it was on and we had professional photos taken after the staging. That was really nice. And then it was, I don't know, on the market for maybe 10 days. And I got another offer in between then, but it was very low, and it was a house contingency, and they hadn't even listed their house. And so we declined that. But then I got this one for, I think she offered 276, and I countered at 290 something. And we ended in the middle at 288. And so then after inspection, there was some stuff on the second inspection for the foundation that kind of scared her. We had foundation expert come in. He quoted like $1,500. So I was like, and there were some electrical things. And so I was like, I'll just give her $2,000.
Perfect.
That worked out, and we closed last week. So
Congratulations. All right. So your estimated repairs were, you said 20, and what'd you end up
Yep.
spending?
About 25.
Okay. And then interest and commissions and all that stuff. Do you remember any of those numbers?
Yeah. So my interest, I was at like 18,000, which
Okay.
is high for $200,000.
Yep.
Um, and my closing costs were about the same, 18. So I ended up pre-tax around 23,500 for,
Sweet.
which is, I mean, I'd forgotten that I'd been profitable before, but this was like my first real, like, I did all the things that I was supposed to do flip.
So your profit one more time was 20 what?
About $23,500.
Gosh, that is just shy of I'm older than you, but my first year teaching salary.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, isn't that crazy? And
Yeah.
and in fact, when I quit teaching, the first house that we flipped, the profit we got was when I quit was a year's salary. So it is crazy. So congratulations to you, Devon. Great job on that, and such hard work. And you still have other projects going on, and the sky is the limit for you.
Can I share my one that closed today? I know we're getting close.
Yes, do.
So this one was a wholesale that came to me very
That
like,
you're buying to flip or that you've completed?
a little. I bought it to originally flip and decided to sell it right away. So it's like a kind of a wholesale.
A wholetailing. So it's like a retail.
But I didn't do anything with it though.
Right.
I didn't fix anything. So this one, it was a very like, I'm big on like being open to, the energy and the receiving things that the universe will give you and doing this stuff. This person from Arizona called your good vibes only. Be the energy you want to attract.
There you go.
And somebody called, this guy from Arizona called a title company that my dad's girlfriend works at, and she doesn't normally answer the phones. And she answered them this day because the girl was gone. And the guy said, "Hi, do you know anybody in Sioux Falls that flip houses?" Like randomly, she's like, "Well, yes, I do." And she had to check with her boss to make sure like that she wasn't breaking any ethical things. And so she connected me with this guy. And he's the husband of one of the siblings of 4 siblings that had a house in Sioux Falls, had been in their family since they built it in 1954.
Wow.
And that one of the brothers was living in town, but he's in his 80s, and it was just getting to be too much for him to take care of. So they were ready to sell. They already had a number in mind because they were going to sell it to one of the grandkids of $160,000. And this is a 3-bed, 2-bath house in a nice neighborhood. Didn't need a lot of work to it. I went over there. I was like, okay, $160,000 done. Like you can't buy, and it's livable. There is some work that need to be done, but you could live in it right now. It's dated, but some of the original stuff had hardwood floors, all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Same time, this is when I had gallbladder surgery and all that other stuff. Finishing the house next door, had another one going. So I decided I'm going to, I was going into hospital visits. I remember this, and I'm like, I'm going to push this out. I was talking to a wholesaler originally, like one of the wholesalers that sends me deals. And I was like, hey, how do you decide how much to, wholesale things for? And I was telling him about the property. He's like, well, we have buyers for that. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I maybe don't even have to deal with this. So I ended up splitting the money, kind of with them. And that closes that. I'm going to go pick up my check later today. And I will make pre-tax 26,000 on that one that I didn't have to do anything to.
That is awesome. And so we call that wholetailing. It's meaning that you buy it at a wholesale price, but then sell it as a retail price. So instead of wholesaling it, like you are assigning a contract, you are literally putting it back on the, but these people
but so I closed on it with the family. I wanted to do that. They again, building that relationship with me. They trusted me with this house that had been in their family for the entire time. They were so sweet too. And I'm still gonna go have coffee with the guy that moved into the apartment. He was pretty distraught moving out after living there so long. But so yeah, that happened today, and
Well, that's a great lesson, because there's a lot of times where something will come across my desk and it's got a lot of meat on it, basically. And I can either buy it and then flip it and make 50,000 in 6 months, or I can wholesale it right now and make, like you said, 26,000. I'm going to do that all damn day and just pass it off, make the quick money, no headaches with it. So bravo to you. Excellent, excellent job. By the way, going back to this first project, is there anything that you would do differently having gone through this project?
I would get the inspection beforehand, just because that's the smart thing to do, whether it turns anything up or not. I would have hired out the painting, but it would have, I would have hired that out. I would have spent a little bit more money on some, being okay with quality. That's my back and forth with my license. I'm a licensed contractor, but I'm also, my mind is investing. He's a contractor that's been a contractor for homeowners. And so he's quality. And so we sometimes have that where he was trying to I don't even know the term for it, but there's trim, and he was trying to make sure that the trim in a closet in this flip house was perfect. I'm like, dude, this whole conversation you just told me about that just cost me $30. It's a flip, just put it, nobody's going to know. It's not a $500 million house, So, but I should have spent a little bit more on some things.
Got it. Well, excellent job. Excellent profit. Congratulations. The second part of the podcast is what makes Devon Smith a badass. And I use the acronym BADASS. And the first letter is B for book. What's a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
Well, obviously Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
I have never read that. Can
what?
You guys, I have never, ever
I thought
read
we were
it.
friends, man.
I know. I never got into it. I suck. J.K. Rowling, don't be mad at me. Go ahead.
Yeah. Everybody says Rich Dad Poor Dad, but that's very true. That really changed my process on things. I'm trying to think, and I know it's so hard for me to pick a book as a former teacher and a reader, but I can't. This is bad. I'm looking over my books. I guess one of the ones that kind of is my why is from, let me grab it, because I'm a nerd and I have my books. Kim Kiyosaki, which is Rich Woman. And her whole thing in here, and this is going to come down to one of my whys later, but that one, because I'm a woman and I was going into this industry and I wanted that perspective as well. So listen to your podcast last week, and that guy was so nice. And I like to give back to my community in every possible way. And I'm like, God, I want to seem like an a-hole.
Wait, what guy are you talking about? The one who...
The one with the AI, Chat GPT.
Oh, yes.
Such a nice dude. And I was like, I'm going to seem like such a jerk, man. Oh, I got a few. Okay, here they are. Look at, I got so many. The Only Woman in the Room, bunch of tales from... Have you seen this one?
I haven't, but I feel like a friend of mine is in that book. Who is it? Who I know. Anyway,
I think that one. One of my things that I really loved is the Ken McElroy books. The ABCs, just getting it gets you just the best for the first basic knowledge, and then you can get into this if you want the real
Brandon Turner.
Very, very, very extensive and wordy and almost a little overwhelming if you're new, but that's why I like these. So
yes, very, very good. All right.
And then
Harry Potter. The first A in badass is for advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
So I've gotten so many good ones. One that is from one of our lessons is that it's never a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness.
Ooh.
So that's a quote that I have it on a sticky note. I don't have a lot of quotes. I was telling you, I don't have a lot of word art. I don't write a lot of quotes. I should, but yeah. So I think that all the time when people are kind of going back to what you're saying, well, I don't know how to do this. I don't well, there's all these resources out there. There's all this money out there. You just have to be resourceful and figure out how to get it. So
very well said. I love that.
And then the other one is, if you don't value your time, no one will.
Nobody else will. That's true.
Yeah. And I heard that in a show called Bob's Burgers, adult cartoon, not like inappropriate, but like from one of he's actually a handyman. His name's Teddy. And he's kind of like the dopiest character, but only the first episode, I was like, holy crap, that's so true. About your time, no one will.
You crack me up. Yes, very, very well said. All right. The D in badass is for drive. What drives you to be successful?
So I mean, I have to be. That's part of it. Like a lot of times people are like, how do you do all of that? How do you keep going? Like, how do you, like, I don't have another choice. I don't have anybody else to fall back on. I'm not going to go back to teach it. Like I have to be successful for my kids and for me. And then kind of going back to the book, Rich Woman, it was coming from a relationship, and I don't want to speak ill of my ex, but I felt like a financial burden for a very long time. And so I never wanted to have to ask anybody, especially another man or a man, for anything. So being financially independent on my own is super important. And then my final thing is that one of my goals is to, because I was a teacher and so many Americans, because we don't put it in the curriculum, financial education is lacking in our school systems, which I know a lot of people know that. So I want to be able to, I will make enough money. Your word. Yep. I will. I will make enough money to start my nonprofit that will create these bound, laminated financial education flip books with very easy to understand like financial definitions of things, just to give kids an idea of what certain things are. And then there'll be QR codes to videos and like other resources. And I want to be able to get that to as many high schoolers for free as possible. And just here, like it'd be visually stimulating, like it wouldn't be boring and it's not like an accounting textbook. Sorry, accountants, your job. Sorry.
I'm married to an accountant.
There you go.
You know, Devon, I just got to say, like, you have such vision of like what you want to do. And I love that this is a portion of it, because I did not think I could like you anymore. And that just with our background in education, and I agree. I'm reading a book right now called The Psychology of Money. Don't ask me who wrote it, because I can't think off the top of my head. But it is really interesting to hear the stories behind how people feel about money. So that may be a good book for you to read before you do that. So I think that is just fantastic. So great job with that. Great reason to be driven in this industry.
Yeah. So if you know any book publishers or, rich people that are already wanting to do stuff like that, send them my way.
I love it. I'm on it. All right. The second A in badass is for aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what's a goal you're currently working on?
I have 10 that I write down every day. I don't remember if that's a quote of the day show or what, but for my business, it is for the end of this year, I'm going to net $200,000. And I will, once my T property closes, I should be close to halfway there. I wanted to raise $1 million in private money. And I've already hit my halfway mark for that. And so it's before the middle of the year. That makes me happy. I want to build my rental portfolio. I want to flip like 3 more houses this year. So I've got quite a few. So those are, I want to finish this place, like the exit outside. That's on there too. Lose about 10 pounds.
Have you
luxury beach vacation? That's on there as well. So I've got, like I said, I'm going to get a new vehicle. I write it down every day. So I know my 10.
And are you going to live in that house forever, or is it temporary living there?
I wanted to stay here for stability for my kids. And it just makes sense. I really like this place too. It's super fun to live in. It's called the Clubhouse.
And do you like the people who bought next door that are your new neighbors?
Yeah, she's a single mom as well. And she's got a daughter that's about 8. They're very nice. And very happy. And actually this is another thing that's important to me too. I got a letter from her realtor. And it says, Devon, thanks for being fair and honest with my buyer, Jamie. Like, she's super excited about the house. Good work. Hope to see you guys do more. And like, that's how I want my business to be, is fair and honest. And
Yes.
I'm glad that she feels that. So
Absolutely. And so good thing those first two deals fell through, because now you got this third person that came in and she's going to be a friend. So that's fantastic.
and I'm a big believer in everything works out how it's supposed to. So those other two people sucked.
They sucked.
They would have been terrible neighbors and would have, I don't know, poisoned or something.
There you go. Perfect. All right. The first S in badass is for systems. Systems are so important when running a business. So what systems do you have in place to help you achieve success?
Well, I mean, I use the software that was, part of our program for deal analysis. I use that for building my private money presentations. I have hired a bookkeeper because, again, accounting and that stuff just makes me literally want to like not kill myself, because that's intense, but like it makes
poke your eyes out.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather like extensively clean a toilet than do bookkeeping. Like really, So a hire, but also, yeah, some of my systems are gonna be hiring that out. But that's why I'm kind of taking a little break, is to, I want to scale. And so I need to really hone in on my systems for acquisitions, because what I have right now has just been organic and it's not scalable.
How do you plan on scaling?
Well, I wanted to start using some of the tools that we've been taught, like the ballpoint marketing, and start with some print. And I know you do great, and maybe yours would be cheaper. Don't tell her. But to do the don't listen to this episode. Or angry dad. No, I'm just kidding. Tark's really nice. If you're listening to this, he's not scary at all. He's really
Tark is amazing. And he only wants your success. All students that are in the program, he truly
does.
Like, you were missing from a call recently. He's like, where's Devon? Why isn't Devon on this call? So he does know you.
I actually had other students like send me messages like, he just was calling you. I was like, oh.
So I mean, the reason why I ask how you're going to scale is, are you going to hire like virtual assistants? Are you going to scale out that way? Or are you going to hire people locally, a physical assistant? What do you plan on doing?
That's what I'm going to spend some time like this next month figuring out, is really, really focusing on like establishing my business. I've been building the airplane as it flies up to this point. Yep. Now that I have a few sales, my divorce is done. Like, I feel like I have a moment where I actually can be intentional about my business and set a plan, and I'm excited for that. So I don't know yet.
Have you read the book Traction by Gino Wickman yet?
No.
You're saying no because I guess other people have told you that.
Yeah, yes. And I've got just ordered Limitless. I'm listening to all kinds. There's so many good books.
But that one is just one that was good, even just for Vance and I in the beginning, because it just projects you to what to expect when you are scaling. So
yeah.
And someone told me this before I read it, was to read it like a textbook, like literally think of it as a textbook and follow it that way. And you as a teacher, you're fully going to understand that concept. So I know,
I will, but don't make it like school, man. We're in homeschool,
but it's a great subject to study, so it makes it more fun.
Good.
All right. Yeah. So to wrap this up, this has been such a fun interview. This is like one of the longer interviews I've had. But
I'm so sorry, everybody.
No, don't be sorry. I could keep going, and you told me to start drinking, so
I know, me too. But
get my ciders in, and I'll keep talking. But
do we do all the S's, or is there another one?
I got one more. So to wrap this up, the final S in badass.
I was a English teacher.
The final S in badass is for success. So what does success mean to Devon Smith?
Again, it's gonna be financially independent. But really, and I know it's better to have a set goal, but mine is to be able to do what I want when I want. Like, regardless of whatever that is. If I want to start my charity, I have enough funds to do that, or my nonprofit. If I want to take a luxury beach vacation, which is one of my goals, I want to be able to do that. I also have adjusted that to not being incredibly overwhelmed every day while I reach that. Like that's part of success too, is that I can do what I'm doing, and be able to slow down. Like, I listen to another podcast daily. It's called the Quote of the Day Show. It's like 10 to 15 minutes with these little snippets of incredible, amazing speeches. And yesterday was Denzel Washington. And he said, don't confuse movement with progress. Oh, I've been moving. And I have been progressing, but maybe some of my movement hasn't been progressing like intentionally. And so that's success for me, is to be able to like just stand back for a minute in my day and be like, okay, this is good. Like I don't have to do exactly everything that I think I need to do right now, because this is not like to be able to push that up.
Well,
other people have such good things. Like that guy last week who you said you popped his podcast cherry. That was my term that I told you. Use it for me. I'm a little.
Is this your first podcast?
Yes, that's why I sent that term to you.
Oh my goodness. Well, I've been saying that for years, by the way, but yes.
No, you just heard it the first time from me.
Yes, I did. Let me rephrase. So it has been a pleasure popping your podcast cherry. You are such an inspiration to so many. And I truly mean that. You know, being a woman in this industry, and I am very dependent on Vance, my partner, my life partner, and my husband, who's an accountant. So thank God for that.
He's amazing. I've met him. So like, good catch there. Good like, way to go. Catch,
because I hate the accounting shit. So he's so great at it. And for you to do this by yourself and be as successful as you are. And I'm really proud to call you friend as well. Aww. And it has been so great watching your journey, and, you know, thank you for being you, and everything does happen for a reason, and the sky is the limit for you. So I'm so, so very proud of you and Aww. Having watched your journey. So thank you for being here today, Devon.
Well, thank you for, being one of the people that are like, help me be here. Everybody says, you know, you're doing great. I was like, I'm great because I put my faith into you guys, and you didn't disappoint. All of my coaches have been great. And the program, again, I sound like I'm like, here, drink this Kool-Aid. But really, like one of the reasons I picked it was, and I know we're still way over, you can sign off anytime, everybody else. You don't have to keep listening to the end here. Like I always congratulate people that are listening to my really long live videos. Like, if you're still here, way to go. Get a life. But I owe so much of what I am, because this program is comprehensive, and because the people that they put into it, like you, are also inspiring to all of us. And you are there to share your wisdom and guide us. And there's never been a time when I haven't reached out to somebody, a coach or something, and they haven't just responded like really, like when I needed something. And the network of friends too that we've created, they were almost there for me more than my friends and my local friends and family were for my divorce, just because it was easier to talk to them, so close to them. So I'm just very blessed that my son made me sign up for this program, and I got to meet you.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to when you are going to be side by side with me and also coaching other people, because you are so great at what you do. And I see coaching in your future as well, because you're so great at it. So thank you so much. And that is all. Thank you for listening. This has been a really fun episode, and we will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.